Well, I'm back, and I decided to give Fallout 2 a bit of a rest because I keep getting dead. At least in Minecraft, when I get dead, I've got a clone to go back to. Now, I apologize ahead of time. This Minecraft uses at least 50% of the processor, so OBS likes to drop a lot of frames. So far, just loading up, we've dropped 12%. So it's going to be a short stream. Basically, just going to see what I can do about showing off the base, assuming that things keep up. Oh boy, the mob farm makes explosions all the time. Come on, Twitch, catch up. Something's not quite right with the volume. It's a lot too loud. Okay, so this is the roadway stuff that I've made. It's much faster. Grinder's in place. That's more reasonable. There must be some sort of an audio loopback or something that's amplifying things. Still, the grinder basically kills them off and gives me mob essence. And there's 2 different mob farms up there. There's 4 little hallways of regular fan-style drop. And then just above here is the older style, but with witch water. So whatever gets dropped in here and touches the witch water either becomes a charged creeper or a wither skeleton. And it's kind of cool. And the next building is the processing building. I put in a main power system using the Ender IO conduit, so it's wired up to each of the buildings, not that there's very many yet. So there's our cobble gen. Going over here to the 3 pulverizers, so it gets gravel, sand, and dust. And it took a while to preload all of this stuff because downstairs There's a chest and an auton for each of 3 sieves, one for each type. So the item pipes bring them down here and fill up each of the chests. And because it's Ender IO, we can use colors instead of full-on pipes for each type. And there's sand and dust in the back and gravel over there. I didn't put any extra autons because this is honestly fast enough as long as it continues to operate. Everything goes over to that chest and then piped up using the old pipes. Up to the workshop. So this is the barrel system as constructed with thermal expansion piping, and because you can't really sever links between pipes that are really close together, I had to go with the snake kind of coil. I'm thinking about redoing this with Ender IO pipe, but the filter works. Even if it is a little sluggish, it's able to keep up with the system without a problem. The masterpiece is over here. So the auto packer basically takes everything that is a metal, which goes into this chest, pulls it out in chunks of 4, turns it into ore dusts, or sand, or gravels, or whatever. In this case, there's a dust there. And those packaged ores basically come into the pulverizer, and if it's a dust, it gets turned into 2 of itself, into the pulverized variety, and if it's not, it gets looped back into the system. So it goes up there, and there's actually 2 filters on the end of the pipe here. There's one there and one on the other pipe to get the sand and the dust ores back, because gravel ore never reaches this far. So when I want to process something, I come up to this chest, I grab out what I want, I take it either over to the smeltery or the high oven. And of course the alloy smelter, which is necessary for making the Ender IO stuff, and the redstone furnace, because I haven't added the other machines in here yet. I'm not sure if I want to make a new workroom or if this is going to be sufficient. This building may just turn into ore processing alone. And then there is the Pneumaticraft stuff. Etching dropper, seed grower, a couple more seed growers past all the farms. And this clever little thing, which is the assembly station, and put stuff in the side with the blue and it goes out with the side in the orange, and primarily that's for making integrated circuits. Cheap and dirty furnace that auto-activates. You put stuff in the chest at the top, it cooks and goes out the bottom. Egg farm. Basic smeltery with the timer. If I throw something into the wooden chest over there, it gets melted down and dropped into the gold chest, and if it's in these barrels, it goes from there to the barrels. But as it stands, there's just some Invar, a bit of glass, and seared cobblestone so I can make more of the bricks. These bricks are surprisingly necessary. When I want to do a massive amount of bricks, I put the seared cobble back in, and then I switch the timer over to this middle one so that the cobble gets fed in from here and it automatically goes into that chest. And here's where the beginning stuff, where the little stones go in, and that's where it started, but I turned that into the lava farm. Obsidian maker. Sugarcane farm, other seed growers, yeah. The high oven. We had a time figuring this out. The only thing that I did differently was I put an actual basin on there if I want to speed up the exit process of the metals. Metals get loaded up there with the charcoal block, they get melted, and it looks like it's not working right now because it's out, so I should probably shut it off. Yeah, it's out of everything. The sand in there helps keep slag from forming. So I've got two of the planter harvester combos, one for the tree farm, which is mostly doing jungle wood. You have to put those jungle saplings just the right spot in order to get it to do its thing. But any of these leaf blocks can be put in the thing for water, and it produces surprisingly huge number of wood, huge amounts of wood when it's put onto jungle trees. All of those vines that it captures, because it does, go into that chest and filtered into these buckets to make dirt. Now this was originally set up to feed the biofuel, but I've moved the biofuel over to the town base where I'm raiding the town and tearing it down bit by bit. Oh, time for food. Almost out of water. See, these are mostly the plants that don't need to have a planter in order to produce, because the harvester doesn't pick these plants, it just knocks them off, except the wheat. The wheat it has to replant. But with a farm of things that you don't have to physically replant with that PAM stuff, you don't have to worry about converting the item into a seed before you plant it back in. And that makes exceptionally good stuff for biofuel, because you have to turn it into seed manually and put it in, but then that's all that's necessary. You get 9 different types of things between the vanilla potatoes and carrots and the saplings and the seeds, and you get max efficiency. Here's the power station. I got sick of changing barrels, so I just connected them up there. Now these are all fed with mob essence and blaze powder, and they perpetually produce electricity, or RF. Yeah, in this pack it's RF. As long as those two things are in there, it'll produce. And right now everything is going from that one down into the wire. For a while there, when the machines weren't all running at the same time, it was actually storing energy here. I had planned to put the biofuel up here, but I moved the entire biofuel thing over to another base. Oh, no, you don't. Those buggers are surprisingly resilient. And here's the orchard. There's still a few trees that I don't have yet, but this is big enough to make any jams, jellies, or whatever necessary in order to make the sandwiches to maintain life. I was a little disappointed in the fact that the plums don't make jelly in this pack, but a lot of the other stuff does, including a few of these things like lemons and limes that I wouldn't have expected jelly to be made from. And I did an extensive remodel in here before I put up the wall, and I figured finally to give up and make a wall. But there's the water system. The first machine here basically turns the leaves into water, feeds it out to the tank and to the other transposer, which fills bottles. since they only stack to 1, it doesn't matter if you right click or left click or whatever. There's the food station. Ingredients chest. Finished food chest, or at least mostly finished. It's ready to do some more sandwiches once I get the wheat and make the bread. In early days, it was best to have a protected place to do the farming. So under the base was an ideal spot. Now, if any of you haven't played Crash Landing before, there's a trick here. The water is more than 4 blocks away, and you get seeds like that. Just like you're going to hoe the ground, only you hoe the grass and let it grow back some. And just like Sky Factory, this is the spot where we make witch water. I usually fill a drum with water and slap it on that pipe, and then the sand and that combine and come up over to this barrel to be soul sand. And it grows a lot of mushrooms in the process. And you have to sift the soul sand for a long time to get this stuff, the netherwort. Now, I'd heard rumors of a cheese move which basically lets you get clean water for free. I want to debunk that. Because basically, when you dig all the way down to bedrock and place a bucket of water on the ground, it stays fresh for maybe 1 Minecraft day. After that, it gets to be dirty water. So it's still usable as an infinite source for bottles, but you have to cook the bottles in order to get clean water from it. And the system I have upstairs is a lot more efficient than that. So I don't really need this, I just never took it down. But it seems that the pack author did have this idea in mind as a quick and dirty, literally dirty way of getting water. At least literally dirty after the first day or so. So in my explorations, I have not yet found the big reactors building. So in place of doing something like that, I have been doing other things like the biofuel. Let's see. Yeah, I've got plenty of resources to make a run to the other base. I just need to get rid of a couple of little things. And this way you can see the raiding base too before I close. If you space your bases out just right, then you can fly from one to the other in one jump. I think I've got these bases a little bit close together, but it's not bad that way. And it's just now getting morning, so good time to fly. There's the sprint wore off. So I took a cue from Jax. I went ahead and did the line in the sand thing. I'm not sure if it's coming through on the vid, but it'll get clearer as I get closer to the ground. And there's the town. I need to take a left. Yeah, left turn at Albuquerque. So I'm kind of planning to extend each of these walkways down to the ground and make it into a proper castle. There's the water fabrication and main power. And there's the bed and the storage, and the rest of it is pretty much just rails and elevators. Not the new Batacraft elevators. Those take a lot of effort to make and maintain. These are the open blocks elevators. What's nice about the matter cannon is you can use it to demolitionize buildings. Like, I don't like that building there. It's too close to my wall, or where my wall will be. There it goes, leaving blocks in its wake. And it does tear up the dust, but yeah, that can be repaired or covered over. But that is cool, and it does take a lot of energy, so having one of these redstone type Pokeball capacitors is good. Yes, I do use a knapsack. It doesn't go into the grave when you die, so you try and be more careful about dying. The other lower end capacitors work, but they take forever. And this doesn't take for bloody ever, and it works. And it goes actually pretty quickly. If I could put the stuff together to make the next level, it would charge even faster. Fully charged. So last time I was here, I filled up one of the bioreactors, and it's still draining. Okay. 64 in each slot and a couple of extra things kind of pushes it to peak efficiency. So that drums back to full. That one's close to full, but it didn't leak over to the others. So I brought over the stuff in a chest over by the bed to expand the farm and actually put in the seeds necessary to keep pushing biofuel. But it doesn't use it up very quickly. And right now all I've got off of it is the 2 fluid transposers in the farm. And I don't know if I'm going to even put a workshop over here. At least not very soon. Got a lot of materials to gather. I've already got one golden bag full of the kind of stuff that this town is made out of. And that was how I was able to be selective about the stuff that goes up here. Backup drum of water for when I was building that other area. Materials galore. Even furniture. So while this was a middle to large city, it was big enough to have several mansions. There's the remains of one, and a graveyard. Now, I managed to knock out most of the spawners on the surface, but there's a crap ton of them below. There's at least a 5-level maze down there, and I'm going to have to dig the place up. It will provide lava down in the middle, but I don't know what else. I don't know if there's loot chests or anything in the center around that, or where the lava is, or any of it. That'll be an adventure, but I'm going to take it slow. And so far, that hasn't been much of a hindrance since I knocked out the top, or the surface spawners. I think I'll probably take down the other buildings before I get to that, unless they become a nuisance. So once I'm satisfied here, I'm going to continue the press south and see if I can find a reactor craft building, or big reactors thing. Because I've found plenty of smeltery buildings, which are the ones with those lovely pseudo smokestacks. The rest of this is all apartments with the elevators from Pneumaticraft. And while those are cool elevators and all, they take pressure always, and they use pressure to go up and down. So it's more of a pain than any of these simple elevators. Now this town had 2 or 3 skyrise type skyscrapers. That's half of a skyscraper, or what's left of one. And I didn't find a movie theater. I did find a kind of a boutique underneath the towers, but that was it. Maybe I'll be able to get a QDS and Hopper and some other stuff if I find the movie theater. Not that I really need those things, it's just fun to find them. It was kind of fun to find a place that wasn't all office buildings like the village to the north. Yeah, but there is what's remaining of another mansion. I'm not sure what kind of building this was. It might be a boutique, or it might be some sort of high-rise office or something. Oh, and the mansions usually have a basement that looks like the office building setup that has several spawners. I don't think I've gotten down to any of those, or I'd show you. The craters around here are mostly from taking down. There's an office building that was taken down, and I think, no, that was another apartment. The office building's further out. But yeah, knocking out apartments with the gun is good target practice, although it uses up a lot of energy, and it's kind of the safer way to handle it, even if it does scar up the ground. So I did another video earlier, it's on YouTube, about the Pneumaticraft seed stuff and the Redstone Farms. But this pack is one hell of a lot easier when I'm not stuck with just the pipes from thermodynamics. Yeah, there it goes again. Well, that's all for now. Have a good night.